Right, okay guys, welcome to this very late Friday Waffle. I'm just reversing the car. I'm actually on my way. It's Saturday afternoon and I'm on my way to, it's called a history of video games or something. It's through in Edinburgh. It's been on I think for a few years, but it's just started back again. It's 11 quid for a ticket. The good thing is, I think there's about a dozen arcade machines on free play. Hang on a second, I'm going to try and get this ticket off the... Beat it! Yeah, there's quite a few arcade machines up for free play. So we'll see what it's like. One of my friends had been along and he said it was absolute garbage, but for 10 quid, let's see what it's like. So yeah, apologies about the lack of a waffle last night. I was actually, what the hell was that guy doing? There's a guy there putting stuff in a suitcase at the side of the road. Very odd. Yeah, I was on a works night out because the contract that I work on, it finished. It's a 20-year contract. Not that my contract was 20 years, it was a 20-year contract that the company had. It's now finished. It finishes at the end of next week, the end of March. And so there was quite a big group of people that went along into Glasgow last night just for a few beers. I ended up going and getting a pizza as well, so it was good, really good. So yeah, there was just no chance I was going to get the Friday Waffle done. I mean, I don't like to rush these things. So I thought I'd take advantage of having, you know, 30 minutes there and 30 minutes back to put the waffle together. If you can hear a voice in the background, it's my sat-nav. Yeah, I know where I'm going, mate, I know where I'm going. You can obviously turn the voice off, but I prefer to leave it on because it's not the first time that you end up forgetting where you're going and you completely miss your turn off, whatever. So that's a really nice day. It's 11 degrees. It's quite cool. I mean, it's quite a sort of cold wind, but you know what? It's really nice. The sun is shining, and we're obviously got better weather on its way. So anyway, listen, I'm waffling a wee bit here. A couple of topics that I'm going to talk about. The first one is a VR response to Lone Boy's post 1975. Dave, he was talking about the relevance of backwards compatibility with systems. You know, is it something that appeals to you or not? There's various things about backwards compatibility. The thing that I always think about is, you know, companies are in this business to make money. That's the bottom line. They're in it to make money. They're in it to sell machines. And I'd probably say, you know, 95% of their customers are a lot younger than me, and they want the best technology out there. So, you know, when they had a PlayStation 1 and they had the PlayStation 2 came out, they wanted the PlayStation 2, then they wanted the PlayStation 3, and obviously we're up to PlayStation 4 now. So that's going to keep happening. You know, most people that buy these things, they're not interested in playing old games. You know, they want new technology, and that's what people need to realise. Most people aren't interested in playing ancient games like myself and other people. So yeah, from that point of view, backwards compatibility I should say, I don't think is a big issue for most people. For me, it's a nice to have. It is. I mean, I like to try and use, you know, real hardware where I possibly can, and it's more down to the controls. You know, you can't beat playing a Commodore 64 using a proper digital joystick. Using a gamepad, a SNES pad or whatever just doesn't feel right. But when you get to something like, you know, the PlayStation, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, all these systems, the games would control absolutely perfectly on a PlayStation 4. So if I was able to have perfect emulation or whatever it is, if I could play all these systems perfectly on a PlayStation 4, I would be quite happy, and to be perfectly honest with you, I would probably actually not get rid of them, I would keep them, but I would probably remove them from my games room, because I don't see any point. I don't really see any point in saying, oh, if I'm going to play a PlayStation 1 game, I've got to play it in the PlayStation 1 rather than playing it in a PlayStation 4, because the PlayStation 1, it can be a wee bit temperamental, the loading's slow, it uses discs, whatever. If I could play a PlayStation 1 game on my PS4 and it played really well, then I would be all over that. So, you know, it's like I said, it's a nice to have. Where I prefer to not, or where I prefer to use real hardware, is obviously where the controls are different. You know, I mean, I know you can play like I think you can play Wii games on the Wii U, and you can play GameCube games on the Wii U as well. But if it doesn't offer the same controls that the original hardware had, then I'd probably stick with the original hardware. But here's the thing: some people complain about when, you know, companies. I'm just going to make sure that's fine. Some people complain about when companies like PlayStation. I think the first PlayStation 3 was it was compatible. You could play PlayStation 2 games, and I think you could play PlayStation 1 games on it. But I believe it was emulating. It wasn't hardware, so it was running an emulator. And because of that, the emulation wasn't perfect. Games didn't play as well as they should have, and not all games were compatible. And then when they brought out the subsequent models of the PlayStation 3, people were saying, oh, it's ridiculous, I can't play, oh, that's crap, why don't they make it compatible with older systems? But here's the thing, if a company wanted to make, you know, say for example the PlayStation 5, whenever that's going to come out, if they wanted to make sure that was going to be compatible with PlayStation 1, 2, 3 and 4, then chances are they're going to have to build in extra hardware, which is going to cost money, so it's going to push the price up. So would you really want to buy a PlayStation 4 and it's going to cost you an extra maybe £200 just to let you play the older systems? I don't think I would pay that money. I think I would prefer just to keep my original hardware and use it for that, keep my PlayStation 3 for PlayStation 3 games. And the thing is as well, from a company's point of view, again, it's all about money, it's all about selling games. If they made the PlayStation 5 PS3 compatible, nobody other than second-hand shops like Game are going to make any money on the actual games, because the games, nobody's going to make any games for the PS3. So all the games that you're going to use are going to be games that you either buy on eBay or buying, you know, from CEX, whatever it is. So there's really no incentive for companies like Sony and Microsoft or even Nintendo to make their systems backwards compatible. Why? Where's the incentive for them? You'll probably find that they've done market research asking, you know, 1,000 people, would you be prepared to pay an extra £100 so that the system is going to be backwards compatible with games? And you'll probably find, why are you going this way? Why was that one me to go that way? I have no idea. Yeah, you'd probably find that most people wouldn't want to do it. So, yeah. So anyway, like I says, backwards compatibility, it's a nice to have. It's not going to be a system breaker for me. You know, if I can, I mean, I've actually just recently, through the wonderful help from one of my friends, I've now got my PS3, it's got custom firmware on it. And one of the really nice things is you can play backup PS1 games on it. All my discs, you just put them in and they play. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to play PS2 games. I think you've got to transfer them. I think you've got to transfer ISOs. But I can now play my PS1 games on my PS3, which is really nice. So, like I says, it's a nice to have, but you know, it's not going to make me not buy a console. Don't get me wrong. It's, you know, in years to come, when maybe I've had enough of the whole video game thing. Unlikely, I know, to have one system under your living room TV that can play all these different systems. That would be pretty good. So yeah, that's my VR response to Dave's post. I will put a link to Dave's original video down below. Go and check him out. He's got an absolutely excellent YouTube channel. So another thing, what was the other thing I've got? Yeah, this is quite a contentious issue. There was, if you follow the retro scene at all, you may be aware, but hang on, I'm going to just turn the volume on for my sat nav because I don't want to miss my turning. I mean, I've already missed a turning there because I was too busy talking. Right, I'll do you, son. Yeah, there was a video that came out a couple of weeks ago, and basically what happened was there's a YouTuber, I can't remember the name, it doesn't really matter who it is. There was a YouTuber, he's got a similar sized channel to myself. He noticed that one of his videos, the content of one of his videos appeared in a rather popular YouTuber. No, I'm not even... Shut up! Oh, this is going to become annoying. Yeah, his content appeared in this rather popular YouTuber's video. It was just I think it was about 7 minutes of gameplay. Basically, the video was it was ZX81 footage, a game getting played, and this popular YouTuber had used some of his footage. Now, what annoyed the guy that owned the footage, and I totally get what he's saying, was the popular YouTuber had edited out the watermark. He'd taken the guy's watermark out of the video, almost as if to say, this is my own, I've recorded this myself. And he'd neither asked permission to use the content, and he didn't give any credit to the guy. So the guy was quite rightly a bit pissed off. I mean, turn right, what are you gibbering about? Right, I'll stop talking for a second to see where I'm going here. Right, I'm going on the bypass, I think. I'm just going along the motorway, the M8 motorway.
In 400 yards, at the roundabout, take the first exit.
First exit? You having a laugh? Ah, right, okay, I know where we're going. I know where we're going. Right, that's fine. Yeah, anyway, so this guy was quite rightly a bit pissed off that this guy had used
the first exit.
He'd used the footage and he didn't give any credit. He didn't, you know, ask permission. And what made it even worse was, I says, the guy had actually edited the video to remove the guy's watermark. But what the guy that had done that had forgotten to do was when the video finished, the guy who made the original video had put his initials in. I think it was VLC or something, I think it was called. So that was a massive giveaway that this guy had borrowed footage from him. So that's basically the background, and I think it then kicked off. There was a lot of quite nasty words being flung back and forwards, and I think the big YouTuber, he kind of initially just dismissed it. You know, he apparently posted in Twitter fake news, you know, and if somebody's kind of mocking you a wee bit, then that's going to just get the heckles up. You're going to get pretty pissed off. So quite a few of the big YouTubers jumped in. I'm talking about guys.
Take the second exit. Edinburgh.
Yeah, some of the big YouTubers. I'm talking about guys have got 40,000 plus subscribers. They were all saying, "Oh, this is
the second exit."
I think he said first exit. Make your mind up. Alright, okay, I know where I'm going now. Yeah, what was kind of obvious was all the big YouTubers, i.e. the people that do this for a living, they were basically defending their pal. They were all supporting each other, and obviously they were thinking, you know, hang on a second, our livelihood is possibly going to get threatened here. Now, a lot of these big YouTubers, they do make these big documentary style videos, and you know, they have a lot of lots of different video clips from all over the place that they obviously get from different places, YouTube, etc. So, you know, you can kind of understand why, you know, it must be time consuming to do all these videos, but, you know, they should, at the very least, they should be crediting people with using the videos. Now, I've got to say, I am guilty on the very, very odd occasion of doing the same. When I'm doing my Arcade Perfect My Arses, I try and I'll always go into Wikipedia and I'll type in the name of the game that I'm looking for, and I'll basically see, you know, I'll look to see what versions of the game are available, and I will always try and play the games. I mean, all the gameplays that you ever see is me playing the game. There's maybe been half a dozen times in the 4 years I've been doing YouTube where I maybe can't get like a PC DOS version to run or something like that. There's always a very odd occasion where something happens and you can't get it to run. And what I'll do is I'll do a search on YouTube, and if there's I'll usually pick a channel that put the video out maybe 8 years ago. I'll always go for the really oldest one. But what I will do, and I've got to put my hand up, I haven't always credited the person. You know, I'll maybe borrow a couple of minutes of footage. Now I know, you know, going forwards, I will always make a point of doing that. I mean, if I use music on any of my videos, I mean, one of the videos features that I do is the magazine one, where I read magazines. I've got a credit in the description basically thanking people, you know, thanking the YouTube channel that lets me use their music. It is all free to use, so I always do try and credit people, but I've got to say 99.99% of my content is me. You know, it's a very, very, very odd little snippet of gameplay that I've maybe borrowed, but you know, I'm glad to say that it has now been resolved. The guy that originally got his video footage stolen or used without his permission, excuse me, the two people have had a chat on Messenger, and I think there was apologies made and they're now totally cool with it, which is good. I'm glad to see it, because it was getting quite nasty. There was a lot of bad words getting flung back and forwards, and you know, I mean, the lad's channel, right, out you come, mate, Mr. Tesco Van. Yeah, the large YouTube channel, he was trying to say, well, technically, you know, if you video somebody playing, if you're using a video of somebody playing Space Invaders, it's not the person that's made the video that owns that. It's Taito, the company that made the video game, or Namco, whatever. But I think that was him kind of trying to make excuses a wee bit. I mean, the whole copyright and borrowing stuff, it's a very, very grey area. But you know, most of us are in this YouTube thing for fun, and you know, we do it for no money. So you know, it's at the very least, you give credit to somebody. You don't try and hide. I mean, I've never ever any little clips that I have borrowed, I would never ever cut out a watermark. You know what I mean? But you know what? Like I says, it's all been resolved, thankfully. You know, everybody's playing again with each other, which is good, because it's quite a small little community, this whole retro gaming thing on YouTube, and it would have been sad if, you know,
in 300 yards, turn left.
Yep. It would have been sad if, you know, it could potentially divide people. But there is, I always do think that there is a bit of a division between people like myself and big massive YouTubers, because they're doing it for a living. You know, I mean, yeah, you can't even compare it. I'm doing it for a hobby, they're doing it for a living. But if they're doing it full time, then technically they've got no excuse why they can't record their own footage. You know what I mean? There's no excuse for borrowing some sort of, you know, footage from somebody else's channel and not saying thank you. So anyway, listen, that's enough of that. Now, just when I'm stopping, first question, let me just turn and get to a roundabout up here. I'm going up onto Maybury Road in Edinburgh. How are we doing for time? That was fine.
Turn left.
Oh, get through. Just in time. That sneaky bugger behind me obviously ran the red light. Right, first question from Mr. Ian Hunter. Have you ever heard of a band called Plain Tape? They actually play C64 tunes. If so, what do you think of them? I think they're from Denmark. Cheers, Alan. I have, Ian. I have heard of them. I've not listened to them for a long time. I mean, I think I kind of, in the early days of YouTube, I watched a few of their videos, and got to say, they're really good. I mean, the whole
400 yards. First exit.
Shut up.
Maybury Road.
I'll just need to keep that thing on anyway so I know where I'm going. Yeah, I mean, the whole sort of chiptune getting played with live music, live bands, is quite a big thing now. I mean, there's a lot of, I'm not saying a lot of groups, but there's people like Ben Dalglish and Chris Abbott, and you know, there's a guy called Mark Wright called the Mad Fiddler. He used to play like the Monty on the Run. He would play the fiddle. So there's quite a lot of these, and it is interesting when you listen to these guys, when you listen to the Sid tunes getting played, it just makes you realise that Sid music is very much a real thing. You know, it's not just wee blippy bloppy plinky plonky computer tunes. It is actually proper music, and when you hear it getting played live, it is pretty special. So thank you very much, Ian. Mr. Doug Scullery. There is currently a bit of a row going on regarding a retro gamer gameplay footage. Yep, just spoke about that, Doug. I did mention I'd probably say that. Right, with reference to the Vectrex, if it was possible to, and you know what, I'm going to wait till I stop. I think reading
400 yards
and driving is not a clever thing.
Maybury Road.
No, it's not clever at all. There's traffic lights up here, so I wouldn't normally want to be stopped at traffic lights, but looks like we might be getting through them actually. We're going to be stopped. Right, we're stopping here, guys. We can read the next question. Right. Okay, right, it's at red. Oh, bugger. With reference to the Vectrex, it was possible to produce an affordable games unit with a built-in CRT vector display. Why was a similar unit with standard raster not possible back in the day? Aye, it's interesting. That's an interesting point, Doug. If they were able to make a built-in vector display, could somebody not have made a built-in CRT display? That's actually a really interesting question. I mean, what you're kind of talking about is almost like a handheld type thing. Wonder why that was the case. If anybody knows a valid reason, was it because would CRT screens have been more expensive than a vector? I wouldn't have thought so. When you think you know, I would imagine that a vector display would be more expensive than a CRT one. I don't know, I don't really know the answer to that actually, but that's quite an interesting question. Can anybody think of a reason why there was not a Vectrex type system, but it used CRT? Excellent question, Doug, and it's one I have no idea about. I thought we were going to get stopped. Yeah, and you're mentioning there, even, you know, it could have been a black and white CRT screen, and you know, you could have had overlays like the Vectrex. So no, that's a really good question, Doug, and it's one I don't know the answer to. There must be a reason for it. I can only imagine it was probably down to cost, or you know what, it might have just been it might have just been too obvious. You know, people were making computers and we all had TVs and nobody actually thought, wait a minute, why don't we make a portable thing? Why don't we make something like the Vectrex? Don't know, there's a perfect example of a Dragon's Den pitch. So yeah, great question, Doug, and thank you very much. See if I can right, Mr. Brian C, like myself, you were around at the start of home computing and have loved it ever since. But if you could have your life again, would you have liked to have been older or younger when it all began? Also, if you had been 10 years older or younger, do you think it would have affected you as to where you are now? That's a good question, Brian. You know what? I don't think, I certainly wouldn't want to have been younger, because I wouldn't have appreciated it if I was only like 6 years old or something. And if I was older, it would basically mean that I would be, instead of being 50 like I am now, I'd be 60. So no, I came along at the right time for this industry. I was just old enough to fully appreciate what a wonderful thing this was. So I've kind of maximised my pleasure out of video games, if that makes any sense. Yeah, no, I think I was the right age for it, Brian. But really, really good question. And if I'd been older or younger, if I'd been younger, I'd have probably still. I think it's hard. You know, it's hard to tell. If I had been younger, it might have been. I might have been quite blasé about it, thinking, oh, you know, whatever, you know, Commodore 64 is not as good as my PS2, whatever. But because I was the age that I was when the whole thing kicked off, even ancient systems excite me now. So, nah, I think I wouldn't change a thing. As Aerosmith says, I wouldn't change a thing. So anyway, great question, Brian. Thanks for that, mate. Right, Mr. Batman, as you have launched a fine series flicking through classic computer and video game magazines, I ask if there are any classic mags you have recently discovered that you have really enjoyed and wish you had read back in the day, or are there magazines you initially didn't like back in the day that you now think aren't too bad and are possibly enjoyable even now? Right, hang on a second, I just want to make sure I'm not going to crash the car, because I don't think that would go down too well. Hello. So what happened here then, sir? I was actually making a video for my YouTube channel. Yeah, I don't think recording a YouTube video when you're driving would be, especially when you're reading questions. Yeah, hang on a wee second. I'm just going to. Anyway, to answer Bat's first part. Has there been any magazines? I'll be honest with you, but I've got a metric ton of PDF magazines on my computer. Now what I usually do is I transfer so many across to my big iPad, and then I read them like that. Hang on.
Bear left. Take the road.
Alright, okay, we're going left here, guys. How are we doing now? We're going to be there in about 10 minutes, that's fine. Yeah, I transfer them across to the iPad, but I'll be honest with you, the magazines that I've been reading, and I don't read them that often on the iPad, just because getting time to do stuff, you know, and my daughter kind of hogs the big iPad most of the time. I don't really watch as many PDF magazines, I don't read as many as I would like. In fact, probably the only time I read them is when I'm doing my my video of them. But excuse me, the magazines that I do tend to read are the ones that I remember back in the day, like Zap and that kind of stuff. So yeah, let's see. For me, Sinclair User was always a poor relation. Oh, we're away again, guys. Wait! Back! Don't panic, Mr. Mannering. There we go, we're back again. We're in business. There's Alan Faceplants. Yeah, anyway, listen, Bat, so I can't really, I think you're talking about your own thoughts on that as well, but thank you very much for your question, as always, mate. Mr. Bop MC, have you ever considered putting tutorials together how to turn a bare bones Raspberry Pi into a fully functioning retro gaming device? I think your style of presentation would be ideally suited to this. I did actually mention, I did kind of put a comment below that one, but firstly, it's very kind of you to say that you think my presentation style would suit it well. What I mentioned in the comments was, I don't ever see the point of reinventing the wheel. In other words, anything that I generally do, like tutorials, I just go into YouTube and type in and I'll follow a video. So I'm not going to make my own one if there's already a perfectly good one available. I just don't see any point in doing it, because I'm not the greatest at technical stuff. Yeah, I can fumble my way through, you know, doing various things like that, but I wouldn't do it unless there's two reasons why I would do one. One, if it was something that I was 100% comfortable with, that I knew. I mean, I don't want to do a tutorial that I'm then going to have to go in and Google to see how to do something, so I need to be completely comfortable with it. And secondly, if there's already lots of videos out there that do an equally good job, then I wouldn't bother doing it. I mean, I've done a couple of, I think the only tutorial I've ever really done, in fact it's not even a tutorial, it's more or less an overview, and that was like...
yards, at the roundabout, take the third exit.
Third exit.
Ferry Road.
Yeah, that's the only one I think I ever did was it was like an overview of a game base, which is a sort of emulation front end I use on my PC. So generally, generally, yeah, it's bad, I should say. Yeah, Bop, sorry, I beg your pardon, mate. That's what happens when you're trying to read and drive at the same time. I wouldn't bother, just because, you know, there's already stuff out there. There's really good
Take the third exit.
videos that are probably better at it than myself. Right, we're just about to go into Ferry Road. That's a nice easy one. Carol Todd, what are your favourite game compilation releases? Let me just finish the question in a second. Are you going round 10? Nope, she's got an indicator on. And he's indicating left even though he's turning right. Don't hit the bus. That would not be a good idea. Right, okay, I can look at that. Yeah, things like Hit Squad, they sold 1 million. I don't think I bought many gaming compilations for like the Commodore 64. I didn't buy many. I generally bought, when a game came out that I wanted, I bought it. So by the time a compilation came out, I would generally have all the games that I wanted. The only one that I can remember buying, and it was an amazing one, and I can't, was that the one they sold 1 million? It had, was it Frankie Goes to Hollywood? Was it like ER Kung Fu? There was a Konami one, there was an Imagine Software one, which was all like the Hyper Sports, Green Beret. All of these, they all came out in one. That was brilliant, and I think they sold 1 million. I can't remember other than the Frankie Goes to Hollywood, because I think that was the game that was on the actual yeah, so that's probably the only compilation that I actually ever bought on the C64. Like I says, I generally, when a game came out I wanted it, I used to buy it. So anyway, thanks very much, Carl. Sorry, there's one here from Mr. Bob MC again. What are your thoughts on golf games? Do you like them? What are your favourites? Do you feel this current gen lacks a good golf game or a good leaderboard game? You know what, I've got to say, the golf game has gone the way of the football game for me. As the realism has got more and more and more and more and more, the inclination to play them has got less and less and less and less and less. I loved Leaderboard. I thought Leaderboard was an amazing game. It still is a good game. I mean, I played it a lot on the C64, and I liked it even better when I had it on like the Commodore Amiga. The one game on the Amiga that I loved as well was Micro Prose Golf, which was kind of, it used sort of like textures, not textures, what do you call it, polygons. And I also liked PGA Golf. Again, it was on the Amiga. It was out, we used to play at my mate's Mega Drive, but really, really good games. But I've got to say, in fact, you know what, there's the most modern golf game that I loved would be the original Tiger Woods on the original Xbox. It was just called Tiger Woods Golf, and me and my two mates, we played it. We used to play it once a week. I would say probably for about a year. We got really good at it. It became very, very competitive. Excellent, you know, really, really loved that game. And then it came out on the the Xbox 360, and yeah, it looked nice, but it just played crap. It used the, well, I mean, it was the analog stick, excuse me, to do the to operate the club, but it was just crap. And I've tried, you know, more up to date Tiger Woods, and they're just too sterile. They're too serious. I like my games to be fun, you know. I prefer my kind of games more arcadey. So nah, I don't have any love for kind of modern golf games. Like I said, the last golf game that I enjoyed was the original Tiger Woods Golf on the original Xbox. So yeah, anyway, thank you very much again, Mr. MC. Right, how are we doing here? Right, in fact, you know what I'm going to do, guys? I'm going to continue this waffle on my way back. So, right, okay. I've just returned. I was on my way to that gaming festival thing. Thoughts? Bit disappointing. The reason being, it was called The History of Video Games, and basically all it was a collection of machines. There was no history as such, there was no people talking, there was nothing to read. It was just some arcade games. I mean, arcade games that I saw, well, that was there, what did they have? They had the Simpsons, they had the Mortal Kombat, the Rolling Thunder, which I played quite a bit. They had a track and field, which the one player button, one of the run buttons was dodgy. So I ended up figuring out, well, why not play a two-player game and then obviously just use the second player. They had a Star Wars stand-up, which was pretty good. I had a couple of games of that. They had a Donkey Kong, but it was one of these really naff generic cabs. I mean, the controls, when you're trying to use the fire buttons, your wrist didn't have anything to sort of lean on, so that wasn't the greatest. They had a Mega Drive, a SNES. Did they have a SNES? Yeah, they had a SNES or a GameCube. There wasn't an awful lot, to be honest with you. I mean, what's the time now? It's 5 o'clock, so I was in for 2 hours. I could have stayed for another hour, but I basically got bored. There was nothing else I wanted to do. There were asteroids as well, Marble Madness, a Pac-Man, or Puck-Man as it was called. That was about it. I took a couple of photos. I'll let you see them. I'll put them, well, in fact, I'll let you see them just now, actually. So, bit disappointing, but you know what, for 11 quid I got to play some arcade games, so you know, I shouldn't complain too much. So yeah, anyway, right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read out, before I start driving and end up killing myself, I'm just going to read out Panther UK. He's, in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to finish reading out, because then there's one more thing I want to talk about. So Panther UK, he is saying to me, my wife is often baffled by my retro antics. I'm getting another C64 bread bin to replace the broken one now that is now a USB keyboard, referring to my 64C. She says, but you've already got one that works. Then looks at me like I've gone crackers when I try to explain the difference between a 6581 and a 68580 SID chip. Anyway, I'm waffling now. What does Mrs. Meister think when another system turns up with the postman? Honest answer, Chris, she could not care less. But she isn't interested at all. She never, to be fair to my wife, she never ever questions anything that I buy. Never says to me, what are you buying now? She might on the very odd occasion go, what's this now? And you know, she isn't interested. I mean, she never goes into the games room other than to put her makeup on in the morning. That's about it. She doesn't show an interest in the games at all, which is absolutely fine. I don't expect people to. But yeah, she never ever gives me a hard time. I mean, you know, sometimes she'll say to me, what are you doing? You know, I'm on the computer, and I'll tell her, I'm downloading a custom firmware, and she's like, whatever, you know. It's just like woof, straight over the top of her head. So no, generally I do not get any problems with my wife at all when it comes to buying anything, and she never really asks about what I'm doing. So you know, she lets me go on with it. She gives me plenty of time to play games, to make my video channel and that kind of stuff. So in the main, I can't complain, mate. So that was number 1 from Chris. Number 2, what do you prefer these days, a gamepad or a proper joystick? Or is it like me, is it game dependent? Yeah, definitely. It's not even so much game dependent, Chris, it's more system dependent. I mean, if I'm playing the Commodore 64, I'll always, well, 9 times out of 10, I'll use the sort of the proper joystick. I've got this little adapter, USB to 9-pin adapter. I'll always use that. On occasions, if I can't be bothered, I'm doing an arcade perfect my arse or something, because when you're doing an arcade perfect my arse, I might be featured like the Mega Drive, SNES, so I sometimes just use the gamepad. But if I'm actually going to play a game, I'll use the proper joystick. Saying that, I very rarely would I, if I was going to play a Commodore 64 game just to play, to enjoy, I would never think of using emulation. I would always go upstairs and use my real hardware. But yeah, it all depends on the system. Obviously, if you're playing the SNES or whatever, then it's always going to be a gamepad. If I'm playing, generally if I'm playing MAME, if I can really be bothered, I'll plug in my twin joystick machine arcade stick, which my mate Mike built for me. It's a cracking. It's actually got better controls than the MAME cab, so I'll use that if I can be arsed to set it up. If not, I generally use the 360 controller for my MAME stuff. It's got all the buttons and that, you know. But if I'm playing an 8-bit machine or an Amiga or an Atari ST, I'll always go down the proper joystick route. So yeah, and finally from Chris, I find the modern games, at least the AAA titles, very easy, boring and samey. Infinite respawns, bloody hell, when I was a lad, infinite lives was a cheat mode, now it's the norm. What are your thoughts on this? Yeah, I would completely agree, and I think that's why I kind of can't really be arsed with, I wouldn't say I can't be arsed with modern games, that's not true. I mean, there's still some games, I'm in the middle of playing Dishonored 2 on the Xbox 360, which is just a fantastic game. It's an amazing game. So I do like next gen games, but I think just from what you're saying there, that is why I still gravitate towards classic games, shoot 'em ups, whatever, because yeah, they're challenging, and they're challenging in a way that, you know, if you die, you know it's because you've made a mistake, you didn't see the bullet coming, you're not quick enough. But yeah, a lot of modern games, and maybe I'm generalising because I'm not really the person to talk about games or modern games, since I don't really play many. Some of the games, as you say, they're basically, you just move forwards, die, respawn, move forwards, die, respawn. There's almost no real incentive to not die. I mean, I remember when I played Doom. Now I love Doom, I mean Doom was an amazing game. But the thing with Doom is, it got to a point where you would kill somebody, you'd save it, kill somebody, you'd save it, kill somebody, die, reload, kill 2 people, save, kill 2 people, move on, save, die, reload. So there's really no, you know, there's no incentive to do well. On the classic games, you've got 3 lives, lose your 3 lives, game over. Obviously some games, they introduce continues. Now even when I'm playing MAME, I don't generally use continues because, well, to me it's that, you know, it's like there's no challenge, because you're just die, put more money in, continue. That's why games like Gauntlet, that absolutely relied on skill. You had to find food, you had to find you know, the side or whatever it was, so you had to do that to survive. But when you've got infinite money on MAME, then it just kills it. But yeah, I remember Stuart Campbell, I think it was, he once did a feature on this very subject, and I think what he did was, it was one of the Sonic Adventure games on the Xbox or PlayStation 2, something like that. What he did was, I think he sellotaped the controller in the up position, and he sellotaped one of the buttons, or he put something on top of the buttons, so he was always running forwards and always jumping. And he said it almost completed the game, just with running, jump, 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 hammer the fire button, hold it forwards, hammer the fire button. You know, so that, I'm not saying that that's going to apply to every game, but that in itself tells you a lot. You're like, yeah, you know, where's the skill in it? But don't get me wrong, there's lots of people like modern games, but I just look upon, I think a lot of games now, especially kind of first person shooters, which seems to be the only kind of type of game you get these days, that and bloody FIFA, it's the same game with different graphics, you know. But you know, I'm old, I'm an old fart. Modern gamers probably wouldn't even look at something like Donkey Kong, you know. It would be too difficult for them to, you know, for starters. But yeah, I am definitely in the old game boot camp. You know, it's skillful, and modern games, I don't know, I just think they're a bit, there's no, one thing I've always thought about, when you complete a modern game, there's no satisfaction, none at all. Whereas if you get a high score at Robotron, you feel like you've achieved something. I know getting a high score in any video game is not an achievement of any kind, but you feel like you've achieved something, you feel like you've improved. But when you, like I said, when you complete a current gen game, I don't know, personally, I don't get any real satisfaction from that. Anyway, Chris, thank you very, very much. And second last question from Mr. Refraction PCS X2. Chris, sorry, Alex, I beg your pardon. I always like to, if I know somebody's first name, I generally call them that. Let me know, by the way, if you would prefer to be called by your online avatar, then maybe I should be doing that. Maybe I'm being a bit presumptuous calling people by their first name, but yeah, anyway, Refraction PCS X2, has there been any system you looked at either at the time or years later and thought, how the hell did they manage to make a system like this at the time? I mean in this respect of how good the technology was. Well, yeah, the obvious one for me would be, it'd have to be the Vectrex. I mean, the Vectrex is one of the oldest systems out there, and it's just a fantastic bit of hardware, you know, it really is. I mean, I know vector graphics wouldn't be classed as being particularly modern, but when I see some of the games that they're putting out for the Vectrex now, you know, putting out games on hardware which would be, what, 82, 92, 2002, 2012, 36 years old, 36 years old technology, and they're still writing games for it. In actual fact, I just bought another brand new game for the Vectrex. It arrived, in fact, this will prove how busy I've been. It arrived on Wednesday and I've still not even opened it up yet, but I plan to do a kind of look at it once I get it out. But yeah, the Vectrex was definitely technology that was amazing. And I suppose more up to date, I would say something like the PSP. I mean, I've kind of rediscovered my PSP, and it's a fantastic little machine. You know, the power behind it, what the graphics it can do, and you think that the PSP, I think, is about 12 years old, 12, 13 years old. You know, so in technology terms, the PSP is a very, very old system, and yet it was ahead of its time, very, very much so. But yeah, I mean, like, you know, would I say like the Commodore 64 was ahead of its time? Probably not. Yeah, the SID chip, the fact that it can still, I mean, when you listen to the tunes that the SID chip can do, it was an impressive bit of hardware even now. But no, I would definitely say the Vectrex and the PC Engine. Actually, that's another one. The PC Engine is a very, very overlooked system in my opinion. It's probably my favourite. I know people say it's 8-bit. Is it 8-bit? I think it is. It's got two 8-bit processors, something like that. But the PC Engine is older than the Mega Drive, and it's older than the SNES. And when you see the quality of the games that you can get in it, I mean, they literally are arcade perfect. So yeah, that again is another super impressive machine when you consider how long ago it's been out. But yeah, okay, listen, thanks very much, Alex, appreciate it. And finally, wee Bob just got in. Had this waffle gone out on Friday night, Bob would have missed it, but because I'm not doing it till today, you managed to get in. Wee Bob is asking, have you ever found anything in the loft that you forgot you had relating to gaming, maybe before YouTube? Absolutely. I keep meaning to make a video of me in the loft. Now, that's not a euphemism, by the way. me up the attic. No, it's my loft. I mean, it's partially floored, but I've got to be very careful when I'm bloody walking about. But I have probably got more stuff in the loft than I have in my games room, and so that tells you its own story. I've got so much stuff. What I've got is I've got these kind of plastic crates that I got from Asda, and because obviously, I mean, my you know, touch wood, my loft is waterproof, but I'm always concerned that one day I get a roof leak, and you know, all the stuff gets ruined. So I've got these big plastic cases that I keep stuff in, but I go up there every now and again, you know. I mean, I'll be terrible. I'll think that I need to get I don't know, a SCART cable for the SNES or whatever, and I'll order one on eBay. Then I'll go up in the loft, I'll find a SCART cable. I mean, I've got so much stuff up there that I don't know half of what's up there. I mean, I really need to, I should really get up there, dig a crate, bring a crate down, see what I've got, and either start using it or sell it, because it's just simply, it's just languishing in the loft. But I really will need to, if I can figure out how to hold a torch and film what I do. I've got a head torch, so what I might do one day is go up there with a head torch and my phone and make a video. It'll be quite interesting just to see, even for myself, just to see what amount of stuff I've got up there. But yeah, I've been up there before, Bob, and I'm like, bloody hell, I didn't even realise I had that. You know, I might have bought something years ago and then I had no use for it, and now that I've got all these systems, I'm like, oh, I didn't even realise I had that joystick. So yeah, watch out for a video. And anyway, listen, just before I go, in fact, I'm going to talk, I'll talk about one thing. I can talk and drive at the same time. So one thing I want to, I was going to, not so much ask, I mean, I completely understand that this is my YouTube channel, and whatever, you know, I want, any content I want to make, I'm going to make it. But I'm curious as to what some of you guys think. As you know, my channel is largely arcade, 8-bit, 16-bit. You know, I don't really ever look at PlayStation, Saturn, Sega Saturn, or, you know, God forbid, PS4. I never look at any of these systems. But the thing is, there are some cracking games on the 32-bit systems, you know, the CD-based systems. I mean, I do feature the occasional Jaguar video and that as well, but I was just wondering what you guys think about, should I start featuring, you know, a few more 32-bit kind of console type systems? Should I start featuring the occasional PC game? I mean, I'm not a PC gamer, and anything that I was going to feature would be a game that I really enjoy, and if I'm enjoying it, then chances are it's going to be an old kind of style game. But let me know what you think. Do you think you like to see some more content with more modern systems? I mean, I think my heart and soul of this channel is always going to lie in old systems. You know, that's never ever going to change, because that is my history. But if you'd like to see some more, maybe slightly more current systems, let me know what you think. A date for your diary, guys. It's either next Saturday or more likely the Saturday after, which would be 2 weeks today. My wife's going out on a night out, and I'm planning to do another what do you call it, live stream playing games. What I'll do is, once I find out the date, I'll put a video up asking for games. I want you to nominate what games you want to see me play, and obviously on the night, you know, if you tune in, you can ask me to play different games. So that is that. So anyway, listen, what I'm going to do, in fact, I may as well finish this video before I shoot off. Yeah, before I go, guys, I just want to put out a massive thanks to my mate Neil Morris. Now, Neil's one of my viewers. He joined the channel, he started watching the channel about a year ago. Was it last week? Was it the last waffle, the waffle before? I can't remember. No, you know what it was? It was a video where I put out, I was talking about the, I showed you my different handheld collection. And when I came to the PS Vita, I kind of mentioned that I never use it because I've not got any games for it, and you know, I've got maybe 3 or 4 games for it. Now, Neil very kindly contacted me and said, look, have you thought about putting a custom firmware on it? Because it really opens up the system. I mean, I know you can still, I mean, I think you can still buy the odd PS Vita game, but they're getting harder and harder to buy. But Neil, he basically spent hours and hours and hours. We're talking through Twitter conversation, Twitter messages, and Neil basically talked me through step by step how to put the custom firmware on it, and how to put this little piece of software. It basically lets you kind of download games. I mean, it's wonderful. It's really opened up my the Vita big style. And he also told me about this thing called Adrenaline, and it's basically, it's an app that you run, and it basically converts your PS Vita into a PSP. Now you're probably thinking, well, why would you want to do that, Alan, when you've got PSPs? The reason I'd want to do it is because the controls on the PS Vita are much nicer. I'm not a fan of the little analog nub stick type thing, and obviously the screen on the Vita is just glorious looking. It's a beautiful, is it an OLED I think it's called, I can't remember what the term is. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's got a beautiful screen, really vibrant, the colour, it's bigger. I say it's got great controls as well. So when you press this app, it reboot, well, it doesn't reboot, but it just changes your PS Vita into a PSP. And the great thing is you can just put the ISOs onto the memory stick and run it as that. So yeah, I mean, I think I must have about 50 games in it now, and it's absolutely transformed the PS Vita from something that I'd actually thought about quite a few times about getting rid of, because I thought I'd never play it. I mean, never ever played the thing. But now this has absolutely just revolutionised my PS Vita. So massive thanks to Neil for that. And he also, I think I did mention it earlier on, he also explained and talked me through how to put custom firmware on the PS3. I mean, yeah, it allows you to play, you know, copied games, but I'm not interested, because I mean, PS3 games, not PS4 games, Xbox 360 games, they're pennies to buy, so I'd much rather have original games. But to be able to play PlayStation 1 games on it, and you can play RetroArch, so it means you can play MAME, you can play all your console games in the PS3 as well. It's just brilliant. I really need to spend a bit more time looking at the PS3. I've not spent that much time trying to figure out what I need to do. But yeah, as I says, thanks so much, Neil. I can't thank you enough. I mean, Neil lives in Australia, so there was a bit of a time delay problem. It either meant that when I was, you know, in the afternoon, it was at almost midnight through in Australia, and vice versa. When I was on the computer at midnight, it was like 8 o'clock in the morning for Neil. So trying to kind of get a time that suited us both was quite difficult. But massive thanks, Neil. I really do appreciate what you've done. So yeah. So anyway, guys, listen, I don't think there's anything else I want to talk about. Like I said again, apologies for a late waffle. It's coming to you almost 24 hours later than you'd normally get it, but hopefully it's worth waiting for. Excuse me. So I'm going to get going. I'm currently sitting in an underground car park in Edinburgh. I'm going to get going, get home and get my tea. Yeah, so that is it, guys. Thank you again to every subscriber, everyone that's watching my channel, old and new. Welcome to all the new people that have subscribed. I mean, my sub count, it keeps going up and up and up, and you know, it's mind blowing when I see just how you know, the channel's growing. It's fantastic. So thanks to all your continued support, guys. If you're new to the channel, you haven't subscribed, if you like what you see, please hit that big fat subscribe button. And lastly, guys, thank you very much for watching.